In most cases, I find it no big deal to ask for an extension or be real about when you can't meet a deadline on time, or something especially if something in life happens where like you got to handle personal things and you just don't have time to like finish a logo or finish a flyer or get to something that a client is expecting. It's important to have that communication. And if a client isn't open to those adjustments and changes, unless they have a super hard deadline and you've agreed to it ahead of time, then that becomes kind of unreasonable, and you probably don't want to work with that kind of client anyway. I mean, yes, you have to be responsible, and you can't do it every single time, but, if it's a rare occasion and you just say, you know what, I just need a few extra hours, let me take care of it in the morning, or something like that, because, you're not always going to be on your game. I have a big problem with that because of my mental health issues, and some days I can't focus. Some entire days I can't focus. So I just kind of change what I end up doing as a result. I'm actually honestly trying to change my career as a result. It's interesting. I was talking to a kid today that came to me to ask for advice on his career, and I was sort of letting him know that I was kind of shifting towards a creative consulting sort of role, or just designer, but more so creative consulting type of role where I'm sort of mentoring and helping young designers and really bringing out the best in them, as opposed to being the person sitting in front of the computer doing all the work. Because I find that as I get older, I can't focus as much. I'm running out of patience. I don't even watch the same movie twice anymore. I want to watch something like The Avengers or Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is one of my favorite movies, and I always want to rewatch that, but I feel like there's so much out there, and there's only so much time I have left on Earth. I have a lot of time, but there's only so much of that time that I want to experience new things, and as a result of that, I end up being more impatient when it comes to sitting in front of the computer and actually getting the work done. It just gets harder for me to focus. I just don't want to be there. I would much rather be talking to a young designer and really trying to spread knowledge as much as possible. I feel like that's the stage that I'm at in my career, and I want to continue that path. So anyway, I kind of went on a tangent there. But basically, you gotta have that rapport with your clients. You gotta build that trust. It's about building a relationship and kind of understanding each other and letting them know that, if you need that extra time, give yourself that extra time, or maybe let them know that, I'm having a rough time with this. I can't quite get it the way I want it to. Just give me an extra day, and then if I still can't get it, maybe let's have a bigger discussion. It's just be real. People appreciate when you're real with them, and I think too many times designers, or really any professional, decides that they are too afraid to be upfront about the situation. They're too afraid to say that they can't do it, that it'll make them look unprofessional, or that they're not good enough, or anything like that. And honestly, it makes it worse. It makes you look worse if you're not communicating with them properly. And I can only say that because I've had that problem in the past. Communication is important. I'm constantly working on it, which is why I do this podcast, because I like to talk about these topics and really work through it. So, be communicative with your clients, with the people you're working with, and, just be real with them. If you got issues, got things you're working through, then just be honest. That's the best thing you can do. If you've been dying to start that podcast about doves, or about your favorite jacket, or about a long-lost love, or a murder mystery,
about a cat who murdered everybody. You can start it now on Spotify for podcasters. I've been on Anchor for a long time, and now it is officially Spotify for podcasters, and it has been a platform that has been growing for forever. And I love it, and I still use it to this day, and it has hosted this podcast for 500 plus episodes now. So I highly recommend it. It is free to use. Spotify for podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. I'm literally on my bed recording on my, the phone is on the bed, and I'm just talking, and it's not that complicated. And then you can distribute your podcast on Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. So video podcasts are available too if you want to show your pretty face and have people see you. You can do all that too. So just do it. It's totally free, no catch. Give it a try. Spotify for podcasters. Let's go.
I implore you to do everything you can to make yourself the most important thing in your life. To take care of yourself first. If you're tired, rest. The important aspects of working and productivity, the key moments are when you are at your best. If you're not at your best, you need to be working towards getting to your best. Otherwise, you're really just, if you're working at 20%, what's the point of working at all? You really need to use that last 20% to rebuild the 80% that's missing so that you can really give everything you've got. I think too many people push themselves much harder than they need to. Work hard and, work towards your goals, but don't make it in sacrifice of being the best possible person that you can, of your health. Don't sacrifice your health, your mental well-being, your relationships, taking your kids to the park or anything like that. Or skipping out on an important thing to go to a work meeting or something. Your coworkers are not going to remember that you went to that meeting, but your kid's going to remember that you didn't go to their soccer practice. Prioritize and do the things that are good for your mental health and your mental growth. I think it's important. Sometimes you take work home on the weekends and it doesn't feel great. Have to do it. And, maybe that just means you need to plan a little bit better. Maybe you're being given too much work and you need to tell your boss that you're overloaded. Create some boundaries. Respect yourself first and foremost, because you're the only person in your life that you're going to spend 100% of your life with. So you should be number one, even over your kids. Because if you're not giving your best to yourself, then how the hell are you going to give your best to your kids or to your other family members? You're always first. You always have to be first. So now when I speak, I typically am speaking to designers, young designers. I'm trying to act as a mentor, particularly for young people, but really anyone that's trying to start their own thing or try to get into a new situation. So, it really isn't specific to any kind of age group or demographic, but a lot of the time I am speaking to someone who's younger and out of college. And in this case, I really want to speak to the young designers specifically. There's parallels to this in every medium, but my experience is with young designers who are trying too hard to be super fancy when it comes to your personal brands, your freelancing, your ideas, and the works that you do for your clients. You're trying to get to this point of perfection, quote unquote, and I hate that word. That is I would say that's my least favorite word in the dictionary, perfect, because it is often misinterpreted. Perfect is very rarely absolutely defined as something that exists. You think of baseball, and a perfect game is defined as to what it is. But when it comes to design, we're often working with variables that aren't defined. So this reaching for perfect is inevitably reaching for something that doesn't exist. And you're pushing yourself in circles to find this thing, this end goal, to satiate your own needs or insecurities. That's essentially what it is. Most of the time, and unfortunately this only really comes with experience, you realize that 80% done is actually 100% done in most cases. You know, those percentages are often variables based on who's looking at it. So if you get to this point of 80% where you're like, this feels done, then you have someone look at it and they tell you if it's actually done or not. When you're the one that has to judge whether it's done or not, you're often pixel pushing or trying to get it to the next place where you feel great about it. But that is only setting yourself up for further failure, because when somebody else looks at it and they tell you it's not perfect, you're setting yourself up for further defeat. So, you know, don't waste so much time in those early stages. Don't waste so much time judging yourself. You know, don't try to be too fancy. You know, get the objectives done, lay down the bullet points and the list of things that you have to accomplish. And when you feel you've accomplished that and it's aesthetically pleasing and it's at the place that is good, then, you know, have the client or your friends or whomever you need to look at it, have them look at it, and then you can determine from there if it actually is good enough or not. And I know I sound redundant, kind of repeating myself, but it's an important point, because once you get to that last 20%, you are essentially wasting your time. You're trying to just fulfill your own insecurity, and at that point, like, you have to decide to get over yourself for the sake of your time. That tells me that you don't value your time. And it's easy to do as a young designer. You're someone who feels like you have the entire world in front of you. You have all these years to figure something out. But at the same time, you're being impatient. It's like this weird dichotomy of, like, you know, kids are impatient and they want to get to these big lofty dreams. But at the same time, they're not patient enough to really kind of work through the process and ask people their opinions and how they should go about things, and making these decisions to speed up the short term in order to be more efficient and more productive, or have a better quality in the long term, if that makes sense. I kind of went in a roundabout way there, but essentially, be self-aware and realize if you're working in service of the goal, which is usually that first 80%, or working in service of satiating your own insecurities, which is usually that last 20%. And, you know, essentially, you got to kind of get over yourself and figure out how to most efficiently get to that 80% and stop wasting your time on the last 20%, because there's so much time wasted on that last 20%, and as much time as you do actually have, you know, before you know it, you're going to be older and wasting your time on the things that don't matter. So I just got done hanging out at the pool with the family. We go to the local YMCA, and there's a pool there, and you know, hang out, swim for a while. This is the first time I've been to this one, and there's, like, it's salt water and a ton of chlorine, and my eyes are killing me. So I'm, like, sitting in the car. You know, after you get, like, your eyes dilated at the eye doctor, that's kind of how I feel right now. So I'm just sitting in the car waiting for that to subside. Thought I'd just talk to you guys for a moment. And really, I just wanted to thank you for listening. I know there are some people that are listening to this, and some people that are listening to the podcast version. Again, anchor.fm/Christian-Rivera. I think this platform is so much fun. I love doing it. I love sharing the music on Anchor. So I would say that's the difference. If you're not listening on Anchor, I'm able to choose songs to play in between my segments. So I'm picking songs that are, like, relevant to my topics, and I think it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to use this version as, like, a little bit of an audio log just to kind of talk about what I'm doing this weekend. Really kind of taking it easy for the most part. I've been doing some reading. Did a little bit of reading for Gary V's books this morning. I just finished Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is, like, super valuable when it comes to learning how to treat people and business and social media And, it's interesting because, like, that was written maybe 2 years ago, and talks a little bit about Vine, and Vine is dead. So it's, like, interesting how he talks about how his book is, very in the moment, and it very much is. It's very relevant to today, and we're very much in this social media landscape, so that's very helpful for that. And then I started reading Ask Gary Vee, which is kind of answering a bunch of questions that people have had over the years, and it's all very useful advice for starting businesses, and what kind of name should you pick, and it all falls under this umbrella of, like, not being too fancy. If you can distill a lot of ideas, questions that people have about starting a business or starting an idea, is that they kind of overthink it. They think too much about, like, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that, and, like, most of the time you can start a business with just your cell phone these days, and everybody has a cell phone. It's just a matter of finding the ways to do it, and using Google. People want to go to other people and talk to them or ask them about ideas, and it's amazing how much you can just look up yourself. Learn how to ask the right questions. Other than that, just eating some food. I'm going to go home and eat a little bit more. I ate some mac and cheese on my way to the gym, which is an oxymoron, but don't worry about that. I need to fix my health. I need to do that. That is a bad thing that I have not taking advantage of, or not being better about, I guess I should say. I need to get some shoes at some point this weekend, because I've had an Achilles tendon issue for about a few years now, really. Going to see a doctor in about a week or so, and then but I know I need better support with my shoes and whatnot, so I'm going to go find something to that effect. And then I have to do a little bit of grocery shopping, do some laundry, nothing too exciting, but, like, I want to talk about that stuff because, like, people listen to this and they're like, oh man, you must be doing amazing things. I'm like, I'm doing laundry and shit like the rest of you guys. So, the one thing I can't stress enough is that we all have the same amount of time. We all have the 24 hours in a day, and people ask me, how do you get so much done? It's like, it's because I'm smart about it, and I work hard. You kind of have to work, especially in the beginnings of an idea. You have to really put as much maximum effort into it so you can learn where the bottlenecks are and learn how to optimize. And then, I work towards not working hard, which is interesting. I work hard towards not working hard. Or I should say, I work hard to be able to work hard towards the next thing. So I don't want to stay stuck doing the same thing over and over again. If I feel like it's a dead end, I'm going to move on to the next thing. If I can't optimize it, I'm going to move on to the next thing. So I basically take an idea, I find ways to optimize it, like I'm doing now with this podcast. I used to record on a tape recorder, and then I have to put it on my laptop, and then I have to edit it, and then I have to put the music, and then I have to upload it to SoundCloud, and then I have to wait a day for it to get onto iTunes and all that stuff. And now I just use Anchor, and it's amazing. It's amazing because there's so many tools out there that you can use to get your things done. You can edit on your phone. You can take pictures on your phone. You can post to social media on your phone. You can schedule on your phone. You can do audio logs on your phone. You can vlog on your phone. You can do YouTube channels on your phone. There's absolutely no excuse to not do anything you want to do. So enjoy your weekend, enjoy yourselves, and I'll catch you next time.